to click record, and we're recording now our first Zoom meeting for Ollie Intro or Introduction to Online Learner. I'm going to share my screen with you. So you should be able to see my screen now. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
All right. So for the first week then, I'm going to kind of go down to the first topic here. And before I do that, I want to show you where you can find what group you're in. So if you go under your own, like I'll use Anne's for instance. If you go under your own profile and you scroll down, it tells you what group you're in right here. And as soon as you get logged in, I watch that pretty closely the first few days, and I put you in a group right away. So that's where you can find what group you're in. Plus, tomorrow I will send out an email on the different groups. I'll send out an announcement. And speaking of announcements, I'll show you where those are at again too, just so you can kind of see where those are. And they're right here. I gotta move you folks over. There we go. Right here by latest news. That's where I will post each week I post stuff, things throughout the week to the weeks, but that's where you can always find the latest news and announcements. I think most of those go directly to your email as well once you're logged in too. So, but that's the other place you can find them. Okay, so scrolling down a little bit then, for the scavenger hunt, this is probably the most challenging thing for the first week because you're using a screencast software, and you can use anything that works for you to screencast. I've had a lot of folks have a lot more, probably better luck using Jing by Screencast, I think it is. And so they've used Jing Screener. Some have used that, but they've encountered some Java issues sometimes when they use Screener. And so I think Jing is the one that has the best luck with things too. Just know with Jing, when you record it, it's going to save on your device or your computer, and then you need to upload it to Screencast, and then you send me that link. If you send me a link from the one that's on your desktop, I won't be able to see it. And so just so you kind of know that. But if you use, there's lots of different things you can use for screencasting. There's Anne. All right, we see her back. Okay. Then going down.
Okay.
Hi, Anne. Welcome back. Okay, and then going down, you'll have an introduction post, which you go in and you create a new post. Let me scroll down a little bit. There we go. Add new discussion topic. That's what you would click. And if you notice that some folks have been in there already, and I've replied to some already too, you are more than welcome. It says here to reply to at least 2 other people in the group in our group, and we have such a small group. There's a total of 8 in our session, but I have one that still hasn't got online yet, but she's got the class information, so I think she's just maybe been busy. So, but that's where you can go to introduce yourselves and reply to others. And then also in the first week, we're asking here too that you update your profile. Include a picture. It doesn't have to be a picture about yourself, but include a picture if you want. Some folks don't really like to post a picture of themselves online. That's perfectly fine. You need to mute your microphone, maybe. There we go. Okay. And you don't need to worry about posting your picture though, because this is a completely private class. I mean, you can't get in here and see the content and see information by participants unless you're logged into the class. So rest assured, if you're nervous about that kind of stuff, it's perfectly safe. Once the class is over, I delete the content from the participants as well. So it's never saved in there. And then of course, in the profile, we're asking that you write a little bit about yourself, a paragraph. Let's see. I'm going to mute that. I'm going to try and mute your audio there.
I think something's wrong with mine.
Yeah, let me just see if I can't. There. Okay. I just have you guys muted for right now in case there's some feedback, and that kind of gets rid of that echo. Okay, and then once you update your profile, then there's this small discussion right here, and you can start this anytime. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And this is where you work in your groups. Okay, now, because we only have a small group of people in this class, there's only 2 groups. So you're either in group 1 or group 2. And again, you can check that under your profile to say what group you're in. But then you click on this, like if I'm in group 1, I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to reply to that here. You can click reply, and that's where you answer the questions for that forum. And the questions for that are right here. It tells you exactly where to go. You click on this article and you read that, and then there you can post about it, and there's different things to write down here. And here, notice here too, it says you must post at least 3 times throughout that discussion. And it's always, I think, good habit to kind of, hit it maybe the first day and reply to a couple folks, and then come back a day or 2, read your replies that folks have replied to you. Continue the conversation, absolutely. I've had conversations that have gone on throughout the course, but it's really a place to, talk to each other, find similarities and differences, comparisons. So it's a really great place to hold discussions. Whether I'm taking a class or teaching, I think online discussion is my favorite part of online classes and online learning. It's where, you can learn from others, learn from, I teach in a Catholic school where we're pretty much, 98% white Catholic, so I don't teach in a school where there's a lot of diversity. We do have some learning disabilities, but not, we don't have special ed services necessarily. So it's really great for me to be able to connect with folks that have those kinds of, that are completely different learning environments than mine, and learn from them. So that part I really, really enjoy. Okay, so then I'm going to pop back here to the main page again. And so that's all of week 1. And again, because we had that email issue and a late start, all of week 1 things will be due this Wednesday. Normally it's Wednesday to Tuesday. That Tuesday stuff is due, but I'm giving an extra day because of that. But if anyone needs any more time, please just email me. Life happens. I know I have 2 kids and a dog and a husband, and I'm getting my master's and teaching a full-time job and doing this. So things get busy. And if you just let me know, then we can definitely work with you. I'm definitely understandable about that stuff. So Wednesday, that'll be due. I'll probably look at and grade things Wednesday or Thursday. I'm already going in and grading some of the forum things, but I kind of do that on paper, and then I'll have those grades for you right away next week. And so then starting Wednesday, topic 2 will start, and you're learning about etiquette and those kinds of things. You'll take a readiness survey for online learning. Pretty simple. You take the survey, you write your responses on it. And then the wiki is here. I'm going to click on this for just a second. And this is also, again, a place where you're working in your group. Okay. Mine says all participants. You won't see this. You'll probably just see just your group. And this wiki, you'll work together with the folks in your group, and you go through and you discuss each of these topics over here, and whether face-to-face or online has an advantage or benefits to that specific area. And then at the end, this last column, as a group, in your group, you need to come to a consensus. There's Ann again. You need to come to a consensus so that you are all talking about what has the most advantage over these certain areas. So it's face-to-face or online. So those are, that's the wiki then, and there's several of those. And the other thing about the wiki is that there's comments here. And in the comments, that's where you go in and you can add comments and discuss with your group, what things do you think has an advantage, the face-to-face. And this is where you can come to your consensus right here with your comments. And so I look at the history of who's put what where. I can see all of that. Plus, I go in and I look at the comments as well. So that's how I grade your participation on a group project such as this. So I do see each individual participation and contributions. I know that's a question that some ask, like, how do you know what I did, in different groups? But that's how I do that, so you know. Okay, so that's the wiki and week 2. And I know, Anne, that you kind of hopped out there and came back in, but don't worry, this is all recorded. So if you want to watch it, again, I'll post it tonight or tomorrow.
Okay, I was having trouble with the audio, so I'm back on my Kindle, and it's okay now, I think.
Okay, good deal. The other thing, too, in week 2, you have another forum discussion. It's a literature review. There are 8 articles, I believe it is, yes, and you have to reply to at least 3 of them, 3 different ones. And you don't have to reply to other people's forum discussions, but you certainly can. Here are the 8 articles, and down below I've already started a discussion for each one. So again, you just click on, if you read this one on blended learning, you click on that one and you click reply down here, and then you write your post. So pretty straightforward with that as well. So that's week 2. Let's see what else. Week 2, I think that's all. Oh, and then you need to add a glossary definition on online learning. And I know when I first took this class, I clicked on this and read what the assignment was about. I'm like, okay, so where's the online glossary I'm supposed to see? Well, it's right here. This is the directions weren't right with it. That's why I was like, where is this at? So it's right here. And again, I see all of your contributions and who puts things in there. I'm trying not to repeat anybody else's entries, which again, since we have such a small class, that's not as a big of an issue as when I have sometimes 26, 27 people in these courses. Then it's a little more interesting. So that's all of week 2. And then week 3, basically, then you learn about online coaching, different tips about being an e-coach, and then you do an action plan. And the action plan, you can decide, it can be a PowerPoint, it can be a paper, graphic organizer, like I've had prezzies, I've had audio, video, all kinds of different submissions. It's really up to you what you feel comfortable with, or if you feel brave, try a new tool. And this is what we're looking for mainly. And basically your action plan is that you're going to consider a role of being an instructor advisor or a placement officer, whatever your position you're currently in. How could you somehow put in online learning into your particular area, and specifically addressing these 6 areas. And I look for these 6 areas, and most of the time folks put these like in bold, in their presentation, or if they're doing a presentation, this is their 6 slides, maybe an introduction and conclusion. So that kind of gives you an idea of those are the things I really want you to address, give examples, how you would do it, that sort of thing, to make sure you hit all of those areas. And that assignment is, of course, the biggest one, and it's, I believe, worth 30 points, if I remember correctly. So, and that can be turned in or submitted to me before the end of the class period. And there are due dates for all the assignments, and we kind of went through those for each week. Note that after this week, any forum discussions, your initial post must be in before Saturday of that week, and then your replies after that. So, but everything else then is just usually due on Tuesday. Now, forum discussions, I don't grade those. I read them throughout the week, but I don't grade them until we're completely done. So that way I give you a chance to make sure you go in and reply and have that conversation too. So, but I'm always in there looking. I try to get into the class every single day if I can. Weekends are sometimes harder for me to get in every single day, but I do try to keep track of it every day, multiple times a day too. So, and then one last thing too, I know up at the top, there's a place to ask questions and troubleshooting. I do check that periodically, but truly, if you have a question or concern, shoot me an email is probably the best. I'm hoping that the Kemper.org email is fixed now, but even if it's not, I sent out the other one that mtrent1815 at gmail.com. All of my emails are on every device I have, and so I always check those too. So email is probably the best way to get a hold of me. You can always call me or text me though too. I did put my phone number in, how to connect, get a hold of your instructor right here. That's in there too. But I do have a regular full-time job too. So, but typically I can answer phone calls too or texts. It's just my days are always very interesting, and not one day is anything like the next, which I absolutely love. So just never know what my day holds. So, so anyway, that is, I'm going to stop sharing now. That is basically the class in a whole. So how about any questions after you've seen those things?
Well, my internet went down, and I just got back in when you were talking about the action plan.
Okay.
So that was the third lesson?
Yeah,
okay.
That's the third week. Yep. And I kind of explained that, you can submit anything. I've had everything from, papers, and typically if you write a paper, it's usually about a page and a half, to 2 pages is usually a typical size. But I'm absolutely not one of those instructors that says, I'll dock points if it's not this long, or, I think that's kind of silly. I mean, I don't think you get good products when you put restraints like that on. I want you to address the 6 topics, that applies to your area and online instruction for yourself.
So you also said this initial post had to be done before Saturday.
Typically it does before Saturday, but again, this week is crazy because of the internet issues. So this week is a wash. Don't worry about that. But next week, this week too, there's a forum discussion in there that you're definitely going to want to post your first initial one before Saturday. That way everyone gets a chance, if someone wants to work ahead to reply to others if they're ready to go. And that's another thing too about this class, it's wide open. So if you're the type that, okay, next weekend I have no kids, no one's around, I'm going to finish this class, you sure can. You'll have to go back and do discussion and replies. But if you want to work ahead, I have no problem with that.
Okay.
I am the queen of working ahead. So
yes, I
appreciate that. In fact, it kills me when I take online classes. They don't let me move ahead. Thing. It makes me crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Especially, that's the whole point in my mind about online learning too, is to do it when it works for you, and your time and stuff. So I don't restrict you because I can't stand that. So
I missed the second lesson, but I can just read about it.
Okay. And if you have any questions, like I said, email me, anything, just let me know. And this recording I'll post that tomorrow in the news items as well, so that if you do want to go back and watch, you can, fast forward to, I'll post it up as a YouTube video so that you can move it forward or bring it back, whatever you need to skip around to learn about it. So. And
then you did mention that if we did miss something, you would let us know that we missed something, and then we could do it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I always go in and check everyone where they are, like a day or 2 before the deadline. And if you're missing something, I always send out reminders.
That's nice. Thank you.
Because especially that first week, they're not exactly, Evan doesn't have them in the order that I would probably put them in. And I know he says that we can always go in and change things, but I kind of feel like, this is his course and I'm just facilitating it. So, and
Moodle has changed its format quite a bit from so it took me a little while to
I know. So the navigation is a little difficult sometimes too. So that's why I always want to send a reminder, and we always get busy and, life is crazy. So I appreciate reminders. And so that's why I'm going to pass that on to you as well. So, okay.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any last questions?
Nope, I'm fine.
Okay. Ann, are you feeling good?
Yep, I'm fine.
All right. Well then, ladies, I will stop the recording and we'll end our meeting for the night. You guys have a good rest of your Sunday and hopefully a good start for this week.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
You bet. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.